So I've been getting a lot of questions lately about, hey, what are the optimal health situations for someone who's a shift worker and working like night shift and stuff like that. So in this video, I'm going to help you understand some of the ways that this night shift can affect your health or digestion and other questions that I've been getting at that I'll share in this video, but also some steps you can take to maybe optimize your situation. So if you're getting ready for work and it's dark outside, you're not going to want to miss this.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
So over on our video for avoid these foods at night, microwaved soda 530, and we might have to do a whole other video just on your screen name, microwaved soda 530. They ask, I would love to see this same subject for night shifters like me. And also Linda emailed me today asking, what are the optimal health thoughts for shift workers? So I've been getting a lot of these questions lately because I've been doing a lot of videos about the anabolic and then the catabolic states in the body and the natural circadian rhythm at the cellular level. And basically it was Dr. Emanuel Revici who helped us understand that at the cellular level, the body should be in this more catabolic state during the day, where the body's very good at creating energy and breaking down tissues and kind of keeping us going all day. And then at night, the body should move into this anabolic state where it's very good at rebuilding and repairing and sleeping and resting. So both of these states are appropriate. The problem is that a lot of people will get stuck in one of these states most of the time, and that can create a whole lot of health issues. So I had some videos, and I'll put the links in the description to these videos below so you can dig into that a little bit more if you want to understand these things. I was talking about some supplements that you really want to avoid taking in the morning because they have this pro-anabolic effect. So if you're going to take a supplement or you're going to eat a food that pushes the body more into this anabolic state that we're supposed to be in at night, you really don't want to do those things in the morning when the body should be in a more catabolic state, because we're just working against our natural circadian rhythm if we're doing that. And what's really important to understand is that this circadian rhythm is about a lot more than just do I have the ability to sleep. A lot of people feel like, oh, I can't sleep, so my circadian rhythm is off. But there's a lot of other issues that can cause insomnia beyond imbalances with the circadian rhythm. So in this circadian rhythm, there's a lot of functions that need to go on during the day, and the body really needs to be in that catabolic state for a lot of those functions to happen. Like breaking down tissues, we got to break those down if we want to be able to rebuild and renew the body. So the body needs to be in that catabolic state to be able to do that. And the body also needs to rebuild, and the body needs to be in an anabolic state to do that. But there's a lot of other functions and a lot of things that can go haywire if someone is just stuck in one of these states all the time and they're not really switching back and forth the way that they should. It can affect where the body sends water. It can cause like chronic diarrhea or chronic constipation issues. And there's a lot of other symptoms or health issues that a person could be dealing with if they're leaning too far on this anabolic, or maybe they're stuck in this catabolic side. So when we're talking about trying to optimize this rhythm so that you can really help the body be in a catabolic state during the day and anabolic state during the night, I think that microwave soda is asking, okay, well, what do I do if I'm working during the night and I'm sleeping during the day? And, a person could theoretically just kind of manually push their body a little bit more into that awake catabolic state during the time when they are going to be awake. And if a person's body is functioning well, they're really not going to have a lot of trouble with this night shift type situation where they're going to be able to be awake at the night and sleep during the day, and they're going to do just fine. But we want to try and help the body move into that rhythm the best that we can. And if you really want to manually push yourself more into a catabolic state during that time that you're awake, if that time is at night, you could do that with those food choices and some supplement choices. And you can look at those videos in the links below, but also chapters 15 and I think 17 in my book, Kick Your Fat in the Nuts, really walks through how to understand these foods and supplements and how they can push you in either direction. And I'll put the link in the description below so you can get that whole book totally for free if you really want to dig into that. But for some people, I think they might have to be aggressive when they're trying to push themselves into this catabolic state during the night, because a lot of the body's natural rhythm has to do with that light and dark factor. That is kind of the same with like all animals. I'm going to put some links to some studies below that talk about some of these things we'll talk about with this night shift work. But I'm also going to put some links to some information about egg-laying chickens. Because this is kind of what I looked up and found some correlations with. And you're looking at information when you're asking, like, what happens to my chickens if I just leave the lights on all the time? And what's going on with their ability to lay eggs? And you really see that this alone can have a really strong effect on the ability of these chickens to function the way that they're supposed to function. And you see advice like out there, want to shoot for 15 to 16 hours of light each day for the best results for your chickens. And anything less than 14 is going to mean fewer eggs, and anything more than 16 or 17 may completely stress the birds out and cause them to stop laying chickens altogether. And you see advice out there like, hey, can I just leave the light on all the time in my chicken coop? And they talk about like, well, cannibalism and hen pecking are more common with these stressed chickens. And if you don't really increase the light gradually, you're really going to stress them out. And just don't leave the light on for 24 hours or the chickens will perceive that as sunlight and they just won't sleep, and then you'll lose those eggs altogether. So there's a lot of things that can dictate how these chickens are doing. And what you might want to look at is there are a lot of henpecking going on from other workers at your shift? Because it's my belief that a human should have as high a quality of life as an egg-laying chicken. So if it's really stressing your body out to try to get it to function against the way that it's trying to function, and a lot of bodies can deal with an extra layer of stress. A lot of bodies are functioning in a way where that's not going to be a real problem, and you're probably going to be fine. The thing is, a lot of bodies aren't. And if you are dealing with health issues or symptoms, you might have to figure out, well, how many things do I need to put in my favor so that I can get rid of the symptoms or the issues that I'm trying to get rid of? So over on our Why Food Sensitivities video, Tanya asked, can you do a video about night shift work and the gut microbiome and weight gain? I think there's a connection, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So I'll say that when I looked through the study that I'll link below, I was a little bit shocked at the severity of some of the issues that they're finding in a lot of these studies. And I was also surprised about the number of studies that had been done on this topic. It was quite a few in a lot of different countries. And when you look through it, like if you read through the whole thing, I don't know, I'm a little concerned, like you might be putting in your 2 weeks notice or something, because it was concerning the numbers and the number of things. I saw a lot of documentation of gastrointestinal troubles, and like after sleeping, digestive troubles are most frequently complained about by shift workers, and the level was like 20 to 75% versus like 10 to 25% for day workers. So that's a pretty big jump. And there was a Japanese study that showed like double the risk for peptic ulcers from shift workers than in day workers. And some studies found that like H. pylori was more prevalent in shift workers. And they were talking about, well, this could happen because the shift work could hamper the natural gastric defense. And I view that as very legit, because we need to be able to be in this parasympathetic rest and digest state to be able to make hydrochloric acid so that we can digest our food. But it's that hydrochloric acid in the stomach that also kills all the bacteria and bad guys that come in on the food that we're eating. And so if we're stuck in this fight or flight state, the body can't make hydrochloric acid the way that it should. So, a lot of the night shift jobs themselves have the ability to be stressful. It's some noble work that is going on in a lot of these fields, but also just staying awake when the body is wanting to be asleep due to what it's viewing as, oh, this is nighttime, this is what's going on, this is the sleep time, but oh, we're going to stay awake anyways. That's a little bit stressful to me. If it's pushing the body too much into that fight or flight state, then that could restrict the ability to digest your food correctly, but also kill off bad guys when they're coming in. So this could have a big effect on the microbiome that Tanya was asking about. And an inability to break down your food correctly is always going to create a cascade of trouble that can lead to weight gain for a variety of reasons. An inability for the body to get all the nutrients out of the food that you're eating that it needs to function will lead to cravings, and a lot of times the body's going to crave, sugars and carbs, things that are easily turned into fuel. So that could lead to some weight gain issues. But beyond that, this study also listed that there's, increased metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes in shift workers, other problems with women's reproductive functions and cardiovascular issues and even cancer implications. And that's not me saying that shift work is going to cause cancer, but it was just a little bit concerning with some of the stuff that the study was finding. But when you're looking at this increase in metabolic syndrome, it kind of got me wondering a little bit, well, how much of this is from the stress of the job itself at night? Many jobs at night are stressful. How much is it from the stress that's going on the body of trying to operate at a time that it really wants to be in its rest and sleeping mode? But how many of these problems also could just be from the availability of food options at that hour? When you go to lunch at noon, there's a lot of food options that are available, and some of those options are really good. But if your lunchtime is at 3 a.m., the vending machine might be the only thing that's open at that time. So is that a factor in what's going on with some of these shift workers? I kind of wonder. It kind of seems like that would at least be a factor. And going back to microwave soda's question a little bit, it did appear that there was a difference between people who were working the night shift and people who were working like a rotating shift schedule, where maybe the body really just couldn't adapt to, am I supposed to be awake at night or am I supposed to sleep at night? Because their schedule was alternating and changing. It seemed like it was more stressful for the body to try and figure that out. And so the outcomes for those folks seem to be worse than those who might just be working at night. And it wasn't a whole lot worse, but it did seem to be worse. So if you have the ability that you're just working at night and you can manually adjust your circadian rhythm, I'm not saying that that's going to improve your situation, but it kind of seems like it should in my head. And my head is not always a place where things are right, but it just seems like that might be more appropriate. But again, I think this is going to vary greatly from person to person. I think a lot of people are going to do fine at the night shift if you have the ability to optimize your circadian rhythm manually and put yourself more into a catabolic state when you're going to be awake and help your body get into that rhythm. I feel like that could be really beneficial for some people. But if someone has significant health issues, you might need to figure out, how much do you need to put into your favor? When I was having my health issues, I had to put everything I could into my favor or I was going to not function that day. So, some people who are having real trouble, they might need to put everything they can in their favor. And there was also a time when I was working like in the gym as a personal trainer and I was getting up at 4 o'clock and I would work when it was still night and I wouldn't really get to see my kid because he was gone off to daycare and stuff by the time that I got home from those morning clients. And so that was a really big stress. That added to the stress that I was experiencing just because it was affecting my family life. And a lot of people might feel like, well, I'm just stuck in this situation. This is my job. This is my profession. And that was my profession. And I was in LA where things were very expensive. But I changed my circumstances so that I didn't have to do that anymore. And now I'm doing even better than I was financially in that situation that I thought that I was stuck in. So if things are going well for you and your health in your night shift, you might not need to do much to continue thriving in that way. But if you're having health issues, then you might need to figure out ways to make adjustments. If you feel like you're stuck, then know that there's always options and you just need to dig a little bit to figure out what those options are for you. But if you feel like, hey, maybe I can manually adjust this a little bit by eating foods or using supplements to push my body in a more catabolic state at night when I'm going to be awake, and push the other way in the anabolic state when I'm going to be asleep. Before doing that, you really want to know where your body chemistry is. You want to make sure you're not really imbalanced in one direction and be pushing yourself further into the direction than create even more trouble for yourself. So what I want you to do right now is jump over and check out our video on how to know if your circadian rhythm is off, to understand steps you can look at to figure out if you might be leaning too far in one direction or the other. Then you can figure out if those steps are going to be appropriate for you or not. I can't wait to hear about your results.